It's officially Friday, the last day of March. Because once we get to tomorrow, no April Fool's jokes. We're officially in the smoke season. We're in draft season. We are officially, whew, Dom, Spoon, we are officially in draft season in less than 4 hours. With that being said, episode 8 for this series, Mock Draft Fridays on deck. Let's go.
BJ Nix, are you here?
Present.
Present. Spoonie, Timothy Spoonie.
Present, sir.
Margaret and Mary. Do we have a Margaret and Mary?
Yes. And the margaritas.
Right. Here, we're ready. Let's go.
Yes, let's go.
Okay.
This is the time to line up behind your team, to support your team, have faith in that team.
It's peaks and valleys. It can't always be good. And as I always tell people, you're never as good as you think you are, and you're never as bad as you think you are. But when we do know about
house call, Trayvon Diggs, pick 6. It's coming. They see it. Knocked away. Oh, Gregory! Hurts in trouble. 3 Cowboys wrap him up, make it 4. Micah Parsons is unblockable.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're now tuned in, locked in with you guys at Pick 6 Sports. We continue our series top 10 each position. Tonight we got the running backs on deck. As Spoonie said in the space, maybe a little bit of argument. I don't know. We'll wait and see. On the backside, we got the edges on deck. And with a little bit of news that we'll get into. Not a ton, but a little bit of news. But with that being said, appreciate everybody that's tuned in right now. Y'all know the drill. Hit the like. If you ain't subbed, hit the sub. It's free 99 to tell a friend to tell a friend. Bring them over here this way. With that out of the way, Dom, how are we doing this Friday, man?
Yeah, man, it's a good Friday. Been pumped, ready to me tackle what seems to be the hardest group to really stack, which is this running back group. Defensive ends, you have a lot of guys that kind of meet the size requirements and the traits that a guy like Dan Quinn would look for. So I love the defensive edge class as well. But man, the running backs, you got a little bit of there, all the different types of flavors. And so for us to try to rank these guys, it was a very tough task for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, quite possibly the deepest position in this draft, quite possibly. And, you don't take our word for it. I mean, look how this league has moved, leading up to this time with their running backs. And you see the contracts that are being signed. You're seeing the guys getting moved. We heard about you might trade for this guy, that guy that you wouldn't think there would be a guy that you could trade for. So, yeah, a very deep group that's going to matter in a lot of ways. And we might see these running backs go a little higher here and there than maybe what you thought. Second round is going to be very interesting at running back. But that's get ahead of the curve there. Get a little ahead of the curve. We'll get into it. Spoonie, man, how we doing? Happy early birthday, Spoon. Happy early birthday. I know it's birthday weekend Monday officially, but happy birthday, brother.
Thank you. I appreciate it. All blessings, man. Blessed to see it. Blessed to be part of it. Blessed to be here with you guys.
No doubt. Now, real quick, there's a face, through these episodes that's missing. And salute to Professor O and Mrs. Professor O as they this week welcomed in child number 4 and the first daughter. He joins the group with me as a girl dad. So he's doing some adult things, great things that went well for them. I think they're actually at home now. So salute to Professor O being a new dad for the first time for a girl. So, when you go into the injury or you're sick or anything else, it's the excused absence part that we hear from NFL teams at times for players. Right. So salute to Professor O and that family over there, the Owen family. Congratulations. Job well done. Here healthy. As I always say, 10 fingers, 10 toes, let's rock.
For real.
Nothing more, nothing less. But let's get to the news and notes from last week to this week. We got a defensive tackle signed, right? We've been waiting for this shoe to fall. We talked about it. Cowboys were ready for that shoe to fall with Hankins after trading for him at the trade deadline last year. A little bit of a pause, a little bit of a wait. He kind of drug his feet, but it's done. Cowboys want to get back Carlos Watkins. This affects the draft now. We're doing the mock draft Friday. We're doing draft talk, episode 8 in the building. Watkins ends up with a 1-year deal with the Cardinals. So you get one, you lose one, Dom. How do we feel here about the signing or non-signing, and what do you think that projects moving forward?
First, I'll start out with the bad news. The bad news is losing Carlos Watkins to Arizona. That is a tough blow because I think he's the type of guy that provides great depth, but also whenever he was able to start in spots where we needed him desperately, he showed up and played extremely well for the Dallas Cowboys. Mm-hmm. And to me, the kind of play and production that he brings is the kind of production that you typically would get out of a young defensive tackle who's already had 3-4 years in the league. Because we're seeing more and more and more how true nose tackles don't enter the league playing at a peak performance level or a top level. It takes those guys a little bit of time to mature, get used to the speed of the league, and to get some of that old man strength in. Some of y'all talk about, eating those peanut butter sandwiches. Yeah. Them guys really don't even need the peanut butter sandwiches. They need to just get with the true strength and conditioning program and more of the conditioning side of that and just learning the nuance of the game. So I thought that was a big time loss for us. One that, you just tip your hat to Arizona for getting a pretty good player, but it's not one that you can't completely overcome. So on the good news is you got the best nose tackle that you had on the team returning in Jonathan Hankins, and you now solidify a spot that seemed to be a pretty big hole to fill, no pun intended, by bringing a guy like him back for the kind of contract that he got, $1.5 million for 1 year. You definitely would love to accept and bring that back to the team.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and of course, the other side with Bohana going into year 3, you're looking for some progression there as well. This is just a point where you got the guy you traded for, you got him underneath contract for a year. You lose Watkins. It's just one of those reminders that we've went through of you let Ridgeway get out the door, and now here you are. So, we'll kind of get into that in a second. Let me pivot over here, Spoon. Mm-hmm. Watkins out the door, but Hankins is back.
Yeah, I still say job's good. Listen, don't get me wrong. Dom is right. You wanted Watkins back. By him playing in spots that, especially that we thought he was a little bit undersized too. And he came out very well with. But I'm not mad. I'm not disappointed because we have a guy in Chauncey Golston who was seeing some time in that defensive tackle rotation.
Just some protection, yep.
So in my opinion, I think listen, 1 year. For what I heard, the Cowboys offered a 1 year deal. Arizona 2 year deal. That's more security with the extra year. And so he chose that. I feel that the Cowboys, the most important thing was getting Hankins. If we would have got Watkins back, but not Hankins, I'm still disappointed. Getting Hankins back for me and not Watkins, I'm still in good spirits with that.
Okay, so the Cowboys are kind of covering their bases going into the draft, right? To me, and I'll ask you guys' opinion. To me, it's we don't have to reach for a guy, right? As we talked about Mozzie Smith a lot on this channel, the spaces or
But
whatever. You can kind of let a guy fall to you, but ultimately, as I look at the lay of the land and what's going on here, I kind of feel like, again, I said Ridgeway being out of the building kind of hurts them. Well, Ridgeway was a 5th-round pick. I kind of feel like if the Cowboys are going to address anything at one tech now that they can't go do it earlier, Ika, your guy Spooney from Baylor as well, throw him in the mix, whatnot.
yes.
It just feels like to me this is a 129 4th round or later. Not that they can't do nothing else.
No.
Dom, you feel the same way now, or do you think the 90 and up is still a bigger opportunity for them to go do it?
Just the way that this thing seems to project out, you would hope you could get a guy like Siaki Ika at 58 or maybe even 90. The way you continue to see his name being pushed down the boards,
Right.
as more and more media scouts get to hear from their connects and sources within the league, within front offices. Like Brian Broaddus always talks about his gang of 7, that type of stuff, where you have them learning more and more about what teams really like. And it's not unusual to see nose tackles fall further down the boards in drafts. And then when that draft actually comes, to see them go into day 3, where it's like, really, how in the world did Andrew Billings, whenever he came out of Baylor, everybody was talking about him being the end of the 1st round type player.
Right.
And yet I believe he slipped all the way to the Bengals in the 4th round.
Facts.
So you can't say that it's impossible to see a guy like Siaki Ika or Keanu Benton out of Wisconsin, or
Ooh, I know I love Bennett.
or,
See, now you're trying to get me going. You know I love Bennett.
or like a Javon Dexter, who's 6'6", 300 some odd pounds. Seeing any of those guys falling beyond the 3rd round. So yeah, it makes sense to kind of wait, because there are guys with girth who can come in and plug a hole for now, and maybe they turn out to be a little bit something better as they learn how to shed a little bit, or gap or one gap. So we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it lessens that need to try to force a Mozzie at 28, or maybe force a Ika somewhere in the early 40s or so.
Got you. Spoonie, with how this thing has transpired, right? Because ultimately we're looking at Bohanna, Hankins, covered their bases, maybe maybe better than other positions. We can talk about that later. Right. Is it for you now? Do you think the Cowboys would go anything 90 and up at D tackle? 1 tech, not 3 tech. Just talk about 1 tech.
Yeah,
3 tech. Right. Would they? Where do you think they land now?
I'm with Don. I think address their more positions when it comes to the run, maybe even running back before the 1 tech, or wide receiver before the 1 tech. I just think with a 1 tech, being that you got Hankins as a start, I don't think it's something where they need to go ahead and reach for somebody unless there's some draft conversation behind the closed doors where. Yeah. Right, like if there's somebody there that really, really like that, a private workout, they had a private workout.
Okay, yeah, I got you. I thought you were to pivot to our bet for a second there.
Oh no, I was getting warmed up.
Yeah, I kind of knew where you were going here. Spoon.
Yeah, I was getting warmed up there, but basically, for everybody to know, me and BJ Nix has a bet on an NFL draft bet. The bet is, he feels that Jalen Carter will be drafted 15 and lower. I'm saying 16 and higher. That's the bet. So for Jalen Carter. Now, this is not something that I want, just a prediction for Jalen Carter's situation. But again, going back to the question, I'm with Dom. I feel that the one tech will be drafted later down in the draft. Value. If Siak Ika is falling, Mazi, there's a lot of things being said about him. He has a strong boy, but he gets getting pushed around, things like that. When you watch the film, there's a lot of things going to play. But as like I said before, unless there's somebody that really caught their eye, Dan Quinn, that they really, really want to get a situation like Sam Williams last year. They worked out Sam a couple of times. They had him in for a private workout. We saw how excited it was when they drafted. Some people thought Sam Williams would have went in the third round. They got him in the second. Some people thought it was a reach a little bit. So it's just one of those things. But if I had to pick and choose, I'm with Dom. I think later down in the draft.
Yeah, and the other thing too is Dan Quinn, we talked about before, went on the world tour, right? Iowa State, Ohio State, Bama, worked edges. McDonald, tuck that back here. McDonald is a guy in play at 26. Now, depending on how the board falls, I'm not saying that's ultimately the pick there, but you got to pay attention to those things. And of course, real quick, let me grab.
Can we drop back and get him? Can we go a little backwards and get him?
Well, let me grab this from my guy. Philip Wall says, Buckner's still an option. I don't think the Cowboys will make a trade for him. I know it's been something that's kind of been churning, and he wants to play somewhere else, perhaps, or whatever the case may be. The one thing I would say simply is, and I'm taking the Cowboys out of this when I answer this, I think there's a trade on deck for Buckner. I think it's a draft day trade more so than a prior to the draft trade. I don't put the Cowboys in that realm. Dom, Spoon, Buckner.
I mean, talent is amazing, but I don't know if Dallas is at that position to be able to trade such great draft resources, because they are in a mode at this point of thinking about how are they going to replenish talent next year, because it's almost as if it's like a nice little 1 year push to see how far can we take this thing. Can it get it up? Can it get us over the San Francisco hump in the playoffs? You also got Philly already coming, and Philly has quite a number of draft picks this year, and then we'll have even greater amount next year. So we still got to be able to build this team out, looking at their 3 to 5 year projection, who's going to get contracts, which guys are, one and done bridge types. So I have a hard time seeing where they're going to do a really short rental on a guy like Buckner and then give up great amount of draft capital in order to make that happen.
Yep.
For me, I say no. But if I had a trade for anybody in that position, it would be Jeffrey Simmons from Tennessee. I understand. I'll give that first round pick. I understand you have to pay him.
Got to pay him those.
Yeah, you got to pay him like Diggs and Parsons and Lamb and everybody. I don't think it would happen. But if I had to pick and choose, that's where I'm going. I'm going with Jeffrey Simmons. I'm not going with DeForest Buckner.
All right, 10-4. Now the other, I think, news of note here, outside of what happened with the guys that got in at tackle and whatnot, Cowboys are working out some veteran wide receivers, and they're not working out nobody else. I want to be clear here. It's not about just the fact they're working out wide receivers, right? Treadwell, Ole Miss, former first-round pick, Minnesota, and before him, right? Who's my guy? DJ Montgomery. Jeez.
Got it.
They're working out wide receivers. Does that intrigue? They're not working on either position, but they're working on a couple wide receivers. Intriguing here a little bit, Dom, as we're kind of following the breadcrumbs.
Yeah, to me, a Treadwell is the type of guy that kind of makes you go, huh? Like, what's the motive behind it? What are they looking for? Is it one of those things where Dallas is known for bringing in former first-round draft picks who may not have panned out, but it's trying to see, like, can I squeeze anything out of that orange? Is there any juice left? Or maybe we can have a reclamation project. So I am a bit intrigued. Does it show their hand a little bit where they feel as if we want to continue to help with the depth side of the receiver group? So it gets me interested. And then you think about Treadwell, the type of size that he has. We know what he's done in the league or lack thereof. So maybe they're looking for more of a possessions guy with a bigger body or so. So then it makes me think, who in the draft kind of fits that mold? Do they feel that confident about Cooks being a guy who can provide somewhat of a deep threat on the outside? We know Lamb is the guy, wide receiver one. He can do any and all things for you. Gallup is going to make some nice acrobatic catches, things of that nature to really help this team out. So what are you missing? Maybe a bigger body guy who can still work the middle of the field or even the outside that can bring you some possessions type of receptions. So I'm thinking draft wise, Cedric Tillman, Tennessee, top dog really of that Tennessee wide receiver room until he got injured this past year. And then finally, Jalen Hyatt got his shine after being there for a while. So he's kind of meets that size profile that we look for. Matto did a great job weeks back showing you the type of receiver that Mike McCarthy has gone for while was with Green Bay, and then what they have with Dallas. So he meets those thresholds and actually far exceeds them. And when you stack him amongst this receiver class, he's tops in like size, far as height. He's up there with his weight. His times look good. The hand size, all of that kind of aligns. And I think he's the perfect kind of guy who can get upfield, nice comebacks, make himself available for a quarterback like Dak Prescott.
That part. Spoon, some of these wide receiver workouts.
I like it. Listen, I know the name Laquan Treadwell is not an attractive name, especially from his track record, being a top 5 pick out of Ole Miss, going to Minnesota, going to Jacksonville. He's been a journeyman. He still haven't found his ground yet. But I always say, look what happened when we got in touch with Laurent Robinson, the wide receiver. Remember that? And Laurent Robinson came out, had a 1,000-yard season, earned some money, went to Jacksonville. It just shows you that sometimes you can get a player that's not a household name or whatever, but as long as he fits in the right scheme, the right system, the right team, it could pan out. So it's again, they're doing their due diligence on these players, which they should be doing. You always work out anybody you can if you feel like if you could get something out of that player to help this football team out. So we'll see what happens, but wow.
Indeed. So, a little bit of what happened this week, D tackle work, some workout work. We got some, we got some info on some guys visiting. Mafia, official 30 in the building. Pro day, Cowboys were there, pro day for Tennessee. Tillman, just like you said, White, I have Tillman over my board, on my board higher than Hyatt. So, there's those some things there. So things are percolating. Things are happening in general in what's going on. So it's been fun in that realm. And we'll see, how things move forward. Oh, Kima, said he's washed. Fair enough. maybe he found something different. But let's get over here to our top 10. Let's go. Y'all want to go with edge or do y'all want to go with running back first? Where y'all want to go?
Running back.
You want the main course before the entree? You want the main course first? Oh, he wants the main course first.
No,
all right.
You know what's kind of unique is that I like who you picked as your 10th defensive end.
Mm-hmm.
I love it, but we'll save that for the end.
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. All right. So first and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, the Pick Six Sports official top 10 running backs for this draft. So, out of the gate, and of course, reminder, we have 5 people to vote. They're like us 3, Professor O, and our mod wrench gang leader extraordinaire, Mendoza, taps in as well, too. Okay? When we do these things. And then we aggregate where everybody's voted, get the points, the whole 9, and this is where we get to. I think the top 2 is a no-brainer here, guys, right? Oh, Robinson, Gibbs, and some of us, I know there was a list that had Gibbs over Robinson. There were some. I ain't calling no names. But here we are, So Robinson, Gibbs, 49 points, 42 points, that's where we are. The number 3 is interesting. let me start there. The number 3 is interesting because I think a lot of people think that Charbonnet's the all the way number 3, but A Chain, aka the A Train at A&M, lands at number 3. Dwayne McBride, we have been banging the table about McBride here for over. I feel like forever. I know it's not been forever, but I feel like for over 2 months. Spears, Tulane in the building. Kendra Miller from TCU. Izzy, the other Izzy from Pitt. Okay, Tank from Auburn, and then Roshan out of the University of Texas. 2, by the way, be clear, hook 'em horns fans. 2 running backs from the University of Texas in the top 10. So out of the gate here, Spoon, where you want to go? What you like here? What you don't like? What you got?
Well, listen. There's no secret. B. John is my number 1 guy. Is that what we asking?
Yeah. I mean, you see the list.
Oh yeah, I'll tell you. B. John Robinson, that's my number 1 guy right there on the list. That's the guy at number 26. I hope he lasts the Cowboys. Shoot, if he's there at number 20 with Seattle with that, I don't mind Jerry Jones goes, hey, listen, get my running back and B. John Robinson. So that's my guy right there. Jameer Gibbs, I think will be a first round guy, in my opinion. I think from the combines, from the personal workouts, from his skill set, he reminds me of Alvin Kamara from the New Orleans Saints. So I really do think that he'll be in the late first for a team like Buffalo Bills and in the Philadelphia Eagles.
10-4. Dom, you look at this list. Where you at, man?
So I first want to start with Devon A-Chain and why he is so high on our list. I know most of the concern with him is going to be about his overall size. And when you look at all of the measurables there, he is underneath where you would want him. He's only 5'8", 188 pounds, small hands. His wingspan really isn't much. So if you're thinking about being a receiver and having a large catch radius, you may be concerned about that. But when you turn on the tape and you watch him play, he doesn't play like a small running back. And then when you couple it with the tremendous speed that he has, it gets you excited. So for me, a guy like Devon A-Chain has great value when you think about putting him in that Dallas system, but you do want to go ahead and couple him with another running back who can take more of the abuse. The game that I would tell people to go to look at how tough he is the LSU game, where he was coming off being hobbled, had a little nicks here and there, but he performed that game and he stayed in it and he was tough as nails. He didn't just run past people, but he ran through some tackles and showed some toughness. So I love what I see out of him. He's a true track speed type guy. When he was in high school, he was a track star. He then went to Texas A&M, and in that program, you know about the Texas A&M track program where they produce guys year after year. And I know his combine time was like a 4.32, and people felt, man, he was going to run in the 4.2s, knowing he's a track guy. I bet you he was disappointed with that 4.32, but he's the kind of guy, he's running that 4.32 with pads on the field. And it's just a lot to get excited about when you look at what he's able to do, even between the tackles. I think he's patient enough to find the holes. He's breaking a little bit more tackles than you would think from a guy that size. So it's kind of like that 0 to 60 type guy. The same things that you get excited about when you see Tony Pollard play, you can kind of add that to A-Chain, though he is a smaller guy.
Dom, I don't know how Cowboys is going to feel about this. He feels very Julius Jones-esque to me.
Wow.
Very Julius Jones-esque is what A-Chain reminds me. And not that Julius Jones was a bad guy for us, let's be clear. 200 yards on Thanksgiving. We can talk about some of the exploits that he had or whatever. He seems very much in that mold to me, Dom.
That's an interesting one. I'd have to think more about that. You know, Julius Jones did come out, and he has the speed. He was more of a barreled kind of chested guy. He
Sure.
had more armor on him, and to me, he didn't have the vision. He didn't have the patience. It was kind of a very unique pick for them, and they got him high. But I think,
Second round.
I think if you can get a guy like A Chain in the third round,
Right.
that's super value. Though I think he's going to go a little bit higher than that. I just like how he's able to completely destroy any pursuit angles on him, and I just want to see what would he look like in a Dallas Cowboy uniform. But those who don't like him, it is about the size. You don't think he can be an everyday down back or every play type of running back, and you do wonder about, will he be able to pass block, protect the quarterback? He's a willing guy, but over the long haul, how good would he be in that position?
Yeah, and look, and I think there's different things to his game to Jones's game that change, right? Like as you talk about the vision, I buy that, but I buy as you talk about the armor a little bit more on Jones's side and different things. But
Right.
I think they're very similar kind of guys, just a little bit better in one area and a little bit better in the other area, if you will, between them. Where I'll land there, and look, I mean, depending on the board falls at 58, I don't know if I'm mad about it. Is where I'd be. But now the other side of this top 10 list, as we do the top 10, and anytime we do these top 10, I think this is very important to say. We don't do the top 10 versus the Cowboys. Hey, where are the Cowboys at? And this will be their top 10. That's not what we do. What we do is this is our top 10, and then we look at our top 10 and address it to where the Cowboys are. So we don't do these top 10s in any position related to the Cowboys. This is our natural, hey, this is the draft. We were building the board. This is our top 10. But I think it's interesting to pivot now to the Cowboys and where they lay in the land now, right? So Malik Davis is in the building. Tony Pollard is here on the franchise tag. Not a long-term deal. You signed Ronald Jones for a one-year deal. You brought back, who's the guy they brought back and put him on the IR? Rico Dowdle, right? So when we look at this list of our top 10 now and what the Cowboys are doing, who really sticks out to you who the Cowboys should target with the backfield they built so far prior to the draft, Spunny? Who do you think in this top 10? Who do you like?
You see, for me, again, I don't want to be biased with the B, John, but I'm gonna go somewhere else. Same jersey. I'm gonna go with Roshan. When they had the interview, when they had the interview, you heard Mike McCarthy come out and say that they want a big physical back. They pretty much want somebody who, with the same style as what Zeke was doing last year, be that bell cow, be that back who could block on the passing downs to help out Dak and those things. And for me, Roshan Johnson, they did have him in for a private workout. They did have him out for dinner. If you look at the games in Texas, some of the games that I saw, you saw him with the qualities of pass block for the quarterback. You saw him going in the passing game. He has the size, all right, to shoot from the gas real hard. He is, in my opinion, is what Dallas wants in an all-around running back with size, in my opinion. I don't think going after the same type of back that with the same skill set similar to Tony Pollard is what they're gonna look at. Go there. I think it's more of that big physical back, somebody different. Because I think Joe Johnson, I think he's a body, he's a camp body in my opinion. I don't think he's somebody that they're looking towards the future, in my opinion.
All right, Dom, you look at this top 10 we put together. The Cowboys, who you think they would look at to target how they built this room so far?
Man, before I move on, I think Roshan Johnson is a perfect guy as well. He's one of the dudes that I continue to say this. It's unfortunate that the UT program didn't do what a lot of Texas fans would have hoped them to have done while he was there. He was a selfless guy who burned a red shirt, transitioned from quarterback to running back, you wanted a guy like that and what he did and the type of moxie he brought, the leadership he brought to go down as a Texas great. But I think he still has what it takes and the traits and the mentality to then go and be a pro and be a solid guy that you'll see, and, barring injury, just churning somehow finding his way to stay on a team for years to come. It wouldn't shock me if we're looking at a 29, 28-year-old running back and Roshan Johnson still in the league. You're going to look up on a Sunday and go, man, that dude's still in the league. Oh man. And he's still producing and being a good teammate for his guys. But one of the dudes that I'm looking at is Kendre Miller, who's out of TCU. I just love what he brings to the table. I like the size that he possesses, being a guy, to me, at that perfect frame of 6 feet, 220 pounds. He's also used to being a complimentary running back whenever they had Zach Evans back there, who then transferred to Ole Miss. So there's not a lot of tread on Kendre Miller's tires, where he, out of all of these prospects in this entire draft that we like and that I see on this list, he has the least amount of career carries. He's at 361. Next to him would be Devon A-Chain, the guy that I spoke about a little bit earlier. On the flip side, some of these others that are here have almost a whole season or sometimes 2 seasons worth of carries over a guy like Kendre Miller. For a guy his size, he's not like a power back. You don't see him just running through tackles and looking for the contact. He's actually trying to avoid, but he does a good job of doing that, where he had over 70 broken tackles this past season, which put him in the top 10 in all of college football for that. So he got 6.2 yards per attempt. His whole career, he's been at 6 or 7 yards an attempt. He ate up touchdowns this past season for TCU. Right. But I just think he's a one-cut kind of guy. He's able to run between the tackles. However, he has great vision to also know how to bounce it outside whenever the inside is congested, or find that nice little crease that offensive linemen love to have a running back behind them that's patient enough to let them do their work to be able to turn the defensive linemen's hips, and while they stay square and you just jitter on by. So I like the burst out of him. If you can get him in the 4th round, that's super value. But I'm always the type who's saying, I wish I could get a guy around later. So if they had to use pick 90 on Kendre Miller, I'm down for
it. And that's kind of the thing. When I look at the list in general, it is like Miller, the Spears, the Bigsbys. It kind of feels that way for me, and where the Cowboys are. Look, now ultimately, if right, the big elephant in the room at 26, Spoon and Dom, if Bijan's there, right? If Bijan's there,
yep.
Well, the Cowboys pulled the trigger, right? That's what it boils down to. Because to me, and I've said this before in the spaces and other times, look, if you're going to pull the trigger of Bijan at 26, I get it. When this team is built, the way this draft is built, the entirety, the franchise tag, if you will, with Pollard, with the one, maybe it's a Schultz situation, one and done, right? Cool. You pull the trigger. If you don't pull the trigger of Bijan, man, I'm out to 129. That's where I'm at. That's how I feel about it. Not saying that's what they'll do and how they'll operate. Maybe 58 or 90 comes into play for them. But for me, if it's not Bijan at 26, man, hey, look, is Trey McBride there at 129? Cool, sign me up. That's where I'm at that point. Like, I don't want to sit here at 58 and take Charbonnet. That's not what I want to do. Get a guy, because I don't think there's that big of a gap from Charbonnet at 58 than Bigsby at 129 or Spears at 1. I don't think that's a big of a gap. So let me ask, because we look at our list with Charbonnet being 4, and I'm talking about Miller, Bigsby, whatever. Is there really that big a gap? If you want to go take Charbonnet at 58, Is that really big of a gap on one of these guys you get at 129 to y'all?
No, I don't. I don't think there's a major difference there because what you're going to get out of a Charbonnet, I think it is unique. It is nice to have a guy with his size, that build, where you see that he can take on more of a workload than probably anybody else in that top 5 other than Bijan, if you think about pure running back. But there's nothing that he does in this game that is so special where you feel like he's completely separated himself from the guys that are 5, 6, 7 on our list. In fact, I can say that those guys on the list who are 5 through 8 have at least something special about their game. You got Israel Abanikanda, who's pure speed. When you get him loose, give him a crease, he's gone. It's going to be hard to catch him. You got a guy like Tajay Spears, who is going to be a weapon in the league because of his agility, his stop and go, him being able to juke a guy out of their pants. And you got Dwayne McBride, who breaks as many tackles as anybody on the list, even though he may not have that type of size like a Charbonnet. So there's not a huge separation between them, and I think a better value could come in the 4th round versus taking a Charbonnet in the 2nd round. But if he were pick 58, I wouldn't be totally upset with that.
One action. I want to ask you guys this: would you guys, and for the panel as well, would you guys be okay if Bijan went early, and they really have Jameer Gibbs high on their board? Because I really do believe when it comes to Bijan and Jameer, they separate from everybody else, in my opinion. Would you guys be okay if they drafted Gibbs with number 26?
It would depend on the board, but I wouldn't hate it. Okay. But it would definitely depend on the board, though. Like, the board would have to matter a lot more with Gibbs at 26 than Bijan for me, Dom.
Yeah, it is. You got to tell, like, I got to know what else is on the board, who's available, because I just feel as if there's more value that could be had from other positions and with players that I have higher on my board than Gibbs. So
is Gibbs going to be a first? Look, and we talked about Bijan being a 1st round grade. Is Gibbs going to be a 1st round grade for you, Dom?
No.
Okay, 10-4. Just give some context there for everybody that's listening. Go right
ahead. He's a high 2nd round guy, and I think even in this draft, a lot of people have their cheater grades of the 1, 2, and I understand it because you might end up with about 20 1st round grades, but yet there's still going to be 11 more picks in the 1st round, so I can kind of cheat a little bit and maybe give a handful of guys that 1, 2 type of grade. He's the perfect example of a 1, 2, and I do think just the way we've seen running backs being drafted here in the recent past, he might be like a top of the day 2 type of guy. So we'll see.
10-4. So if the Cowboys go 129 at running back, looking at this top 10 list, that would be the 4th round pick. Spoonie, who are you hoping for here?
4th round, I'm hoping either for Kendra Miller, Abanikanda, Izzy from Pitt, and Roshan.
Okay. Dom, at 129, who are you trying to pull the trigger on here from this list?
I mean, those are the same 3. The other one to add in is Dwayne McBride. I think all 4 have a shot of being there realistically. And if I were to rank them, I would have Kendre Miller, Roshan, Israel, and then Dwayne McBride.
Oh, I'd have Israel over Roshan, but neither here nor there. Different talk for a different era. I'm trying to make sure. I know y'all pivoted us having some arguments. I'm not trying to have no argument. There's a reason why Roshan's 10th. At 129, I can't do it because I get him in the 5th or 6th. That's how I feel. I'm not about. Oh, let me say it this way. Okay, maybe we will argue. I'm sorry. Roshan was. let me look at my top 10 real quick. Let me pull up my top 10. Let me look. Oh yeah, Roshan's on my top 10. He's on my top 10 person was Bijan Gibbs. All right, A Chain, McBride, Charbonnet, Izzy, Miller, Bigsby, Spears, and Deuce Vaughn.
Deuce, okay.
Deuce.
K-State.
Come on.
Deuce Vaughn, yes.
Come on.
Kansas
Top 10
State.
running back.
Yeah, facts. Weapon. Positionless football. I've talked about this a lot, Dom. This shouldn't surprise you. I've talked about weapons and things that matter.
Right.
Guys, I don't see it with Roshan. It sounds good. It's a great story. And look, and Texas has had some guys that were backups that came into the league and done some things and so on and so forth. Tell me what Roshan. Tell me this. What does Roshan do well to y'all? What does he do great?
I mean,
Yeah.
listen, we look.
No. I don't want to hear. No. What does he do great?
Well, all right. So, one trait that I like in running backs is whenever you get bumped, hit, hand reaches up from the ground as a defensive tackle is on the ground and they're reaching up to get you. There are some guys who fall down immediately upon contact. They're not north-south runners sometimes. Guys who just cannot find a hole, see a hole, have patience to hit the hole. I think Roshan Johnson has all of that packed into what he brings. He has excellent contact balance. That's the word that everybody continues to use. It's become very in vogue the last
center of gravity
years.
Center of balance, or whatever you want to call
it. Yeah,
right?
But I love that about him, and I think he has that over some of the other guys on this list. He can run through tackles, and it's that frame, 223 pounds, being one of the bigger guys here on this entire list, and yet still produces as if he's a bit of a smaller guy.
I need big guys to play like big guys. That's where I'm at. I don't look. I'm just telling you. It's cool. It sounds great. We have a backup running back that's number 10, which is fine. It's 10 down the lane. I look at it. You're not wrong. Like, he takes bumps. I'm with that. I buy that, Dom. And a little bit of this, that, and the third. Vision. I don't think that's really great. Catching the ball. Catching the ball is not really great. I'm not saying it's terrible. I'm not saying it's terrible.
Yeah,
I'm not saying it's terrible. But we're talking about the other guys. I'm basing it against the other guys is what I'm saying.
Right.
And that's just where I'm at. Like,
right.
Cool. He'll be a guy that could he be a one cut guy? Now here's the difference. And we talk about geography lottery. Can he be a one cut guy in his own scheme? That's what we have to buy if he's going to be at 129, in my opinion. If he can be that, okay. But I don't know if he can be that.
So if we go by what Stephen Jones and Mike McCarthy was talking about, big backs, basically somebody different from what we got in Tony Pollard. Out of this top 10 list, out of the big backs, let's take Bijan Robinson out. Who do you think would be that guy? Because Zach Charbonnet, everybody is pretty much 50-50 with him. Nobody, you got a lot of folks who be like, nah, not my cup of tea. You got some who do like him. Who's I
like Zach. Zach runs weirdly. He has a little hitch in his head, but he's okay. I like Charbonnet. But I don't know, man. I'm big on and I know we all are. Something about McBride triggers me a little bit. I like McBride a lot. I like Miller. I like Bigsby. Izzy's an intriguing guy to me from Pitt. He's very intriguing to me. But it's a conversation to be had just in general. Look, I don't and again, we don't say people are trash or anything. Look, I don't think Roshan Johnson is just a terrible prospect or anything else. That's not what I'm saying. I want to be very clear. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying in general, what is he giving? Like, if we're pairing something with Pollard, right? Do we really think in this scheme that he's going to give you more than Ronald Jones? The other Rojo.
Yes.
Okay, fair. All right, talk to me then.
I mean, Ronald Jones, I haven't seen him stay healthy. I
That's
haven't
fair.
seen him truly produce at a level where I even think he's even going to make this team.
Okay.
Especially if they were to draft a young running back. I'd rather keep that young running back, have our guy Pollard loading up, and then go ahead and stay with Malik with him, and just have a three-headed kind of thing going on with my running backs. And Ronald Jones, he's kind of a guy you just bring into camp, see what he has, and if he does produce, great. Maybe stash one of these young running backs. But I feel as if a running back from this class is going to have every opportunity to be able to get on the field and to show what they have, because I see Tony Pollard being a 1-year bridge kind of a situation for them.
Last question on the running back. Are we, which we don't know, but are we sleeping on Malik Davis a little bit? Do we think there's a bigger plan inside that organization for Malik Davis? Because, I loved getting Malik Davis last year. Spoon, we talked about it. We did a space, prior to preseason, and I was like, it's not going to shock me Malik Davis leads the league in preseason rushing yards. And he had moments. Do you think they look at him inside here and maybe that gives them a little pause of drafting later when it comes to Malik Davis, or no, Spoon?
Right. No, it's possible. It's very possible. Again, he had big moments last year. He the game against Green Bay was, to me, one of the ones that that stood out, because that's the game that he was running good in the fourth quarter, and we stopped giving him the ball, and we was like, keep giving it to him. He's getting the job done. So, again, this is why we call it small screen season. Right now we're picking. We're talking about a top 10 list of the running backs who the Cowboys can take, but we don't. We got to realize that they may say, "Listen, we got Malik Davis. He's in our plans moving forward. You're not gonna take him." But we'll know more of that once the draft is over, and we'll see what they have done. But it's very possible. You can't ignore that.
10-4. So this top 10 list, not saying that he's a bad running back or anything else from that standpoint. Who's the one guy you're like, nah, I don't want to see him here in Dallas? Is there a particular guy like I'm good?
For me, it is Dwayne McBride.
Really?
After the interview that Professor shared to us, I'm huge on character. I'm huge on character.
Okay.
I'm huge on character, and I'm not trying to disrespect the young man. I hope he gets drafted, and it just, my thing is that when you become a Dallas Cowboy, again, players, every team is different. Media is different how they handle a certain team. When it's the Cowboys, you are on camera 24/7. 24/7. The mic is in front of you 24/7. Everybody knows what you're doing, what you're not doing. In my opinion, if you're not the type of guy that knows how to talk to the media, say the right things of that nature, they're gonna get you. Once the media gets you, it goes all down the drain from there, and it becomes a very, very bad thing. We're dealing with somebody right now on the team, defensively, that we're trying to get right. I don't want a repeat of getting those type of guys again, in my opinion. Respectfully saying that.
Yeah, I think it's very country, but I feel you. Dom, is there a guy here like, nah, let's not do that?
No, I like all of these guys.
Yeah, fair.
I can find something positive about everyone on this list. Like Bijan, if we get him at 26, I can justify that and understand it, where instant impact for the team. He now brings attention to the backfield. It opens up the game for everyone else, makes Dak comfortable, and he's arguably the best offensive talent in this entire draft. So I could get that.
Whoa, pause. Quarterback, wide receiver included. You said offensive talent, the best offensive talent in this draft?
Who's that, Bijan?
Bijan.
Oh, yeah. Listen.
Better than any quarterback or wide receiver. Major key alert. Okay,
it's all about arguing the positional value. Like, you really can't stack things up against quarterback.
Yeah, we ain't doing positional value. You said best offensive talent.
But still,
like that.
When you just break it down as far as an offensive talent, guy can be a weapon. He can be a workhorse. He's an excellent receiver, willing blocker. Needs to improve in that for sure. To me, that's the area of his game where you kind of, There's no Ezekiel Elliott in that
mold.
No, it ain't happening. And then you got Gibbs, who's a complete weapon. Many of us have talked about him being an Alvin Kamara type. I can kind of see a little bit of Aaron Jones in him as far as some of the toughness he can bring.
Yeah, I like that.
And he would be great at the backfield receiving. Then, I mean, just go work your way down the list. Tank Bigsby, we didn't even bring his name up. He's on our list. But you're talking about a guy with a nice frame on him, breaking as many tackles as anybody in the country, had a terrible offensive line at Auburn this past year. Auburn just, I don't know what happens with that program, but it's not doing so great as of late. But you see the toughness out of him. And McBride, other than Bijan, I know Matt O has mentioned this over and over and over. Outside of Bijan Robinson, he had the most broken tackles in all of college football. And you think of him having a frame that mimics Tony Pollard's, being 215 pounds, 5'11". And so he's a little bit shorter than Tony, which gives him a little bit more of a stockiness to him. So, man, I'll take any of these guys. If anybody fell, anybody on our list was there in the fourth round, I'm fine.
That part.
Again, I want to make clear. I'm cool with the talent as the character.
I feel you.
That's it.
I feel
I want to do that. Now we get McBride.
Well, and the other side too is, and the other side too is, if we're being honest, like we can talk about the Ole Miss cat. Like there's other running backs. Deuce Vaughn, for what it's worth, I get it. A little bit of a niche, Darren Sproles type. The Ole Miss kid. I mean, there's other guys out here that can happen, right? There's just the plethora of top 10 in a very deep position, maybe the deepest in this draft. It might be the deepest in this draft. So that's where we land on our top 10. That leads us to the edges. You can never have enough pressure on the quarterback. So these guys, from the edge standpoint, had to matter. D ends, edges, the official Pick Six Sports top D ends / edges. Wow. Here we are, top to bottom, 10-1, 1-10. Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy, Will McDonald. Hey, we know Dan Quinn worked with him personally. We saw that with Sam Williams. Major key alert there, right? Luke Van Ness. We'll talk about that. Felix, BJ. Not like BJ, it's me. Zach. Man, that's a different talk. And then Isaiah in the building. So, out the gate, you look at this list, Dom. Talk to me, Goose.
Well, I wish a different Isaiah would have made this list at 10.
Oh, me and you both.
Isaiah McGuire out of
Missouri,
number 9. If you watch him play, just an impressive talent that I think his best days are ahead of him. He reminds me of Sam Williams 2.0. He's not as athletic as Sam Williams,
right?
But that frame, being a guy who's 6'5", 6'6", weighing 270 pounds already. He's already got his grown man body, and I only see him getting better with NFL coaching. But we have Isaiah Foskey on this list instead from Notre Dame. If Isaiah Foskey would have came out 2 years ago when I thought he was going to come out, that guy may have been taken near the end of the first round,
right,
early second. But he decided to return to school, which was a bit of surprise for Irish fans. And he didn't produce like he did. He didn't really get his he didn't add anything to his game that you would have hoped for him to add. So that kind of dinged him a little bit. So you wonder, was it because of the coaching changes going on at Notre Dame, where now the defensive coach is now the head coach, and he now took off some of his attention to the defensive side because now you have to work the entire program. So maybe that was it. Things in South Bend wasn't as good as they were from the year before. But I can see why he still made the list, because if you look at his size and how he has produced throughout his collegiate career, he's been a solid player for the Irish, and he has enough hand technique where you're like, all right, you're already working with something. He has the strength. He's not a bendy guy by any means. He's not a super fast guy. He's not beating you with sheer athleticism, but it's more of his power and him trying to work some savvy moves, especially trying to get inside on the offensive tackle. So he stands out to me when I look at this list, where it's a little bit of surprise that that's the Isaiah that made it.
Yeah, I think my guy Double A as well from Northwestern not being here is the other surprise for me because I had him as I had Isaiah McGuire, that is at 10. I had Double A at 9, but hey, did make the cut. It is what it is. That's why we do a group tank effort here and how we do things in general. You know, I almost feel to a certain extent, if we're being honest. Well, I mean, I guess I can't say being honest. Well, maybe I can. Van Ness is high for me a little bit. I had him a little bit lower. I'm worried about Van Ness. He looks the part. Didn't start. It's Iowa though. You kind of understand those things. Van Ness worries me. You know, obviously Wilderson. I think it's clear cut, right? Him being there and what's going on and what's happening there in general. And I think also I do need an alert here real quick. No, I don't. Okay. I thought we had our first 50-point guy this week, but everybody put him first.
Yeah.
Because I know we talked about it earlier, but I guess I thought Will Anderson was our first 50 or Bijan, but I guess not. Neither here nor there. So both guys 49. Wilson, a little bit of maybe a little bit of medical stuff. It makes sense. Nolan Smith's going to be the guy, right? That we look at, Spoon, of where he was, what he did in college. Then the combine came. Where is he going to be at now? Can he make it to 26? That'll be the intriguing guy. Miles Murphy, Clemson, we kind of understand the business there. McDonald, they worked with. Van Ness, looks the part. The Loch Ness Monster looks the part. Has done some things, right? For you, Spoon, you look at this top 10 list here, edges. What do you like? What do you don't like? Where you at, man?
For me, I know lately it's been Felix Anaduke Uzama. Did I say his name right now?
Hey.
Yes.
Hey,
Go, Spoon. Let's
See, this
go.
is what happened.
Hold on.
Was that?
Well done. I was just hitting the claps.
Oh, okay.
Say it one more time. Yeah, one more time.
Oh, Felix Anaduke Uzama.
Let's go.
See, this is what happens when your wife is a teacher. That's what happens. I know the Cowboys has been on his radar lately. He doesn't have, from what I saw, a lot of experience. But what I like about him, he's very explosive. He makes quick. He explodes into a tackle level. He's very strong, very fast. He's the edge quicks. He has a good size. Only thing is not that much experience, but I think a guy like Dan Quinn can unlock it. So he's a very good athlete for the position. It's just the only thing is not that much starting experience, but for what I've been reading, I'm intrigued for him.
Fair. Dom, you look at this list. How many first round grades do you have out of this 10?
Oh, Will Anderson, Tyree Wilson, Nolan Smith, Miles Murphy.
That's it? Done deal? Just 3? Okay.
Those 4.
Oh, yeah, 4. I'm sorry. You did put Smith and Murphy. I'm sorry. So Will McDonald, the 1-2 for you at that point?
No, Will McDonald is a solid 2. Yeah.
Okay. Is there any other 1-2s here?
I don't have any
Or no?
1-2s. No, I don't. I don't do the 1-2.
Well, we talked about you come around on it a little bit, Dom.
I understand why others would do it, but even if I did a 1-2 grade, I wouldn't have any of these guys as a 1-2. As much as I like Will McDonald, he has flashes, and but whenever I still see him standing up and playing purely on the edge and not out of position, shaded inside as a 5 or even at a 3 technique where I've seen him play in that Iowa State program. When I saw him standing up, I still saw times where he wasn't able to capture the edge and use all of the types of tools that you would need as a speed rusher. But he definitely flashed. And so I see where there's something to him where you could put a pretty high grade on him. So if somebody had him as a 1-2 cheater, totally understand it. I know maybe last week our guy Vach put out his stuff about him, and he has him solidly as a first round player, and chose to highlight, the good things that he saw in him because he was mainly being overlooked, I think, by most, and that's why he tried to feature him in that way to show y'all are missing it with this guy. You really have to stick to watching game after game with him and watching multiple seasons. So I see why people would get excited about Will McDonald, but I still have him more around that 45 range when you're talking about stacking your entire draft board.
All right. So top 4 here for you ones. All right. 5 to 10. How many 2s in there for you?
So a 2 would be Will McDonald, Lucas Van Ness, Anyadike Uzama, BJ Ojulari. And then the last one, I love Zach Harrison, probably more than anybody out there. The kid is just a long player, being 6'6", 270 pounds. I know I've said it already tonight about McGuire, but I think he is another late blossoming kind of guy where he's a freak athlete that I think is going to be able to cook here on the next level. He's a game changer type guy whenever he finally works his power and that length into these offensive tackles. So getting him under the tutelage of a guy like Dan Quinn and what our defensive coaches have been for Dallas, he excites me. I don't think he's going to end up being a second rounder, but I like the upside of him and that frame where if he was taken at the end of the second by a team, I know why. It's because of the tools that he has, and he's like, you can mold him. He's like clay right now.
So you left number 10 off. Where you putting him at? 3rd round, 4th round?
Foskey, he's a 3rd rounder to me.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about our guy, the other Isaiah. Where would you put McGuire at from Missouri then?
He's right there in the 3rd round.
Okay.
And again, I would love to get guys later and early in this process, going all the way back into August and September, October. I'm putting out stuff, telling y'all in the back channels of guys that I like. October, I finally started sharing stuff on Twitter, and he was one that I marked as, that mid to late round guy that's going to be a sleeper type. It's a guy that I love. I was trying to feature dudes in that realm, but anytime I do that, these guys end up being 2nd and 3rd rounders whenever the process shakes out, and he's one of them. I would have loved to once thought that you could get him in the 4th. I think you're going to have to use pick 90 on a guy like Isaiah McGuire.
10-4.
Hey, Don.
All right. No, go ahead, Dom. I mean, go ahead, Spoon.
Yeah, I'm gonna ask Dom, what do you feel about pardon me if I say his name wrong, Vilalami Fioku for San Jose State?
Fioku.
Nope.
I don't think I watched too much.
Okay.
I don't think I watched. I know who you're talking about, and I wonder if he's actually cousins to the Fiokus.
Right. Right.
Ours at Dallas, and then the other one is with the Chargers, the brother.
Right.
I don't know, but no, I didn't get to see him at all.
Okay. Fair enough.
That part. So theoretically, as we have been doing running backs and edges here, and Bijan, could fall, right? We had this conversation. Maybe Nolan Smith falls. If the Cowboys pull up at 26, Spoon, and it's Bijan and Nolan Smith on the board, who are you pulling the trigger on?
Ah,
Yeah, let me know who you're pulling the trigger on. Bijan and Nolan Smith sitting there at 26. All right, you can only pick one.
only one.
Spoon,
All
where you
right,
gonna land that
only
plane? Where you
one.
gonna land that plane?
Well, it is a thing. Me living in Brooklyn, New York, I love visiting Texas. I really do. Matter of fact, my wife talked about it. We said we end up moving, it would be to Texas. So being that I love Texas, I'm gonna stay with Texas. I'm picking Bijan in number
Oh,
26 over no. I'm sorry. I gotta take. I
Okay,
gotta
okay.
complete the offense, and something that Dom said last week that should not be unnoticed. Dak is getting older. You want a running back. You want a running back that can carry the load. Don't get me wrong. We're gonna do this committee thing, but you want somebody who has the ability to carry the load. And Dak is getting older. So therefore, I'm sorry. I gotta go with my man Bijan. It's destiny. It needs to happen. Let me stop before the sermon comes out of me. But
Yeah, I mean,
I gotta go with Bijan. I'm
the
sorry.
Cowboys ultimately drafted Zeke for Roma, but neither here nor there. Dom, the edge is there. Nolan, Bijan's there, 26. Who are you taking, good sir?
ooh. I haven't even considered this. That's why I'm like, ooh. You would think this would be a logical thing to consider. Oh Lord, jeez. All right, and this is why I'm struggling with it. About a week and a half ago, I started to turn sour on Nolan Smith because I'm like, career production.
Yeah.
I want to be able to have a guy that, if I'm going to take you high, I want to see not just flashes, not just having the measurables, but I need the production to match it as well. I need the tape to also match it, but you still got to be able to make plays. Don't be an almost guy or an inch away guy. I want to see you finish the play, make the play. And you don't get a lot of that out of Nolan Smith. And then I went to the Alabama game from 2021.
Yeah.
And I was watching your guy, offensive lineman, Emil Ekiyor Jr., and I wanted to see what he was about because I know you were high on him.
You've seen me cool off.
I wasn't as high.
Yeah.
And I'm watching him though, and I'm like, he's a pretty good, solid player. I'd seen him before, but now I'm watching him against Georgia. And I saw him pull on a play. And he's pulling left. And who stoned him? Little 235-pound Nolan Smith. I mean, Smith didn't move an inch. Not an inch. And I'm like, it made me think of his comment of country strong. I'm a country guy. By the way, go back to McBride, country guy. You might be able to take the country kid out of the country.
We gotta get Spoon. We gotta get Spoon on board. We gotta worry about that. We gotta get that country interview. We gotta work on that with Spoon.
Hey, your wife's a teacher. I started out my career as a teacher, and I remember my student teaching days. The lady, little old lady, gray hair. She was like, sir, you're a great teacher. You're going to be a fantastic teacher, but you got to work on that grammar. And I looked at her. I was like, if you would have heard me 4 years ago, you'd see the tremendous growth of the brother being from 18 straight out the
Big
country,
facts.
4 years of college. Man, ghetto country is my language. So, but man, Nolan Smith, I just think he's ascending. I'm gonna do the dumb thing. Even though Bijan is the overall best offensive talent in this class,
The traits.
I'm going with positional value. I'm going with traits. I'm going with upside. I'm going with the guy who has tremendous bend, flex. I'm going with a guy that reminds me of the kid that's playing over with the Eagles, and matching that with Micah Parsons for the next 5-6 years.
Yeah.
Woo! Give me Nolan.
Clip it. Somebody in the comment section, clip it. I just got Dom to take Nolan Smith
Wow.
over Bijan Robinson, ladies and gentlemen. Wow.
What you got, BJ? What you got?
No, that was my question. I got to
Well,
answer.
how about this? I want to make it a little. I want to make it a little sweeter. I want to add
No. It's a hard question. It's a hard question. It's a very hard question.
Hard. That's so hard.
And as my guy says, I doubt he even lasts that long. It's fair. We're doing hypotheticals because somebody has to be there. Somebody has to be there, right? And we start talking about four or five quarterbacks going, so on and so forth. There's going to be a guy there. Hey, man.
I'm still up here.
It's tough. Can never have too many rushers. Never. Immeasurables from him. Maybe weight bothers you, as Dom talks about. Everything else, so Jesus, H Christmas, when we talk about Nolan. And you start getting into the rotation from, whatever.
He may fall. He still may fall. It's possible. Very possible.
Man, it's Bijan, man. If I'm trying to get 6-23, it's Bijan. Again, I ain't talking about long term and what might be overall better or second contract, right? Second contract, even, if you will. If I'm trying to get 6-23, and it's Nolan Smith or Bijan Robinson, I would say Bijan Robinson. In the vacuum of the idea to get there now, or even better yet, the idea of it's a 2-year window now is what I do. From a long-term standpoint, and we're doing things, I would probably go Nolan. But if I'm trying to go get somewhere, if I'm trying to get my go get somewhere shoes on, if you will, shout out to T.O. I got my get somewhere shoes on. Shout out to T.O. back in the day. I'm taking Bijan, and I'm trying to find my best damn way to go out here and get number 6 in the next 2 years. Nolan Smith might be the ultimate better pick long-term for the Cowboys. I ain't worried about that. I've been waiting for 27 years.
Right.
I ain't worried about 3, 4, 5 years down the line.
Right.
I'm trying to get somewhere the next 2. And it's right here in front of us. I got to do that.
I got a
But
problem.
it's tough. But it's tough. I mean, theoretically, you're not wrong with either side, but,
Ooh, I got a problem.
Oh.
I got a problem with somebody in the comments.
Oh, well, I'm going to grab the cover. Which cover do we need?
Row it.
Okay, which one?
Talk about Nolan Smith. Looks like Tarzan, and aside from one play like Jack Boy,
Wow.
I'm revoking your access to speak. 2023 draft prospects, bruh. I like you.
Yeah,
and we go.
He's
back,
a Longhorns fan. Got to remember that,
bruh. There's no Bobby Carpenter in Smith. This isn't a guy who's afraid of physicality.
Oh no!
Oh, don't say that name, Bobby Carpenter.
Pause.
God.
He said, "I'm betting on Andre Carter." Oh no! Not Carter. But that's, hey, look, Dom, we're just going to leave it at that. We'll be here all night. We got to do a mock draft. He said Carter. That's okay. You're entitled to your draft lane and what you think. We can talk about that later. Look, and as he said, love you too, Dom. It's okay. We'll let that slide. We can talk about Carter on the spaces later.
This is the fun part about the draft. We all can agree to disagree, but when draft night comes, it's gonna be something. It's gonna be something. So
no.
Man, I would love DeJuan Jones. That size, man.
But with that being said, mock draft season.
Mm-hmm. No trades.
No trades. We do no trades.
All right.
No trades. No trades, Spoon. Look. See, Dom, you see how Spoon did? No trades. Look. He was ready to get a trade in. He was ready. Look. He was ready. He was like, "We trading, right?" I see what you did there, Spoon. But we're not. No trades. We're gonna pick. We're gonna pick and stick. We're gonna stick and pick, I should say.
Hey,
We're going to stick a pick.
I just want to put this on video. In a space earlier, I was talking about how I think teams are going to covet pick 32 this year because it's the first pick of the second round. So first pick of day 2. I would love for Dallas to trade back from 26 to get that 32nd pick, and I know that's giving up a 5th round option. Guys ain't making it a 5th round option anyway. The way that Stephen Jones do contracts, the same. So give us pick 32. People start calling throughout the night wanting 32 from us because their best guy still read it pretty high at that point and still available. Then we trade back again. So get us 2 extra 3rd round picks or so. Man, I'll be cooking.
Okay.
Steve Avila would be my first pick with it.
Yeah, Steelers, by the way, for that. Steelers 32.
That's how we did with Frederick. Travis Frederick dropped back 3 times.
And here we go.
Here we go.
Let's roll. Before we get there, let's scroll up. Bryce Young, number 1. CJ Stroud, number 2. Sorry, Spoonie. Jalen Carter's up out of here. I win my wings. Will Anderson to the Colts. Interesting. Wilson to Seattle. Christian Gonzalez, best cornerback, to the Lions. Anthony Richardson to the Raiders. Will Levis to the Falcons. JSN to Chicago. Paris Johnson to the Eagles. Witherspoon to Tennessee. Quentin Johnston to the Texans. Joey Porter Jr. to the Jets. Broderick Jones to the Pats. Luke Van Ness to the Packers seems like a Packers pick, doesn't it? Just feels like it. Peter Skoronski to Washington. Miles Murphy to the Steelers. And people were talking about him being a 3-tech kind of edge guy in a 3-4, right? Makes a lot of sense there to the Steelers. Ooh, Bijan to the Lions is nasty work. Brian Branch over to the Bucks. Jordan Addison, interesting for Seattle. Zay Flowers, so Kellen Moore and the Chargers get somebody. Nolan Smith, no, to Baltimore. Dalton Kincaid, that's fair with me, over to Minnesota. Oh, Michael Meyer, 2 tight ends, let's go, to Jacksonville. Brian Breezy, thank God Brian's gone.
Thank you,
to the Giants. The Cowboys are on deck. Kalijah Kancey in the building. Banks, Harrison, McDonald, Josh Downs, Dewan Jones.
Phoenix Alanduke Uzama.
I was waiting for you to do it. Mozzie, BJ, Emmanuel Forbes, Henley. Yeah, guys, what are we feeling?
So just a reminder, last week we took Kalijah Kancey.
We did.
In the first round of that draft.
I mean, Torrance and Avila's here.
We can't trade back one time just in the first round.
No.
See, Dom, that dream of trading back is right here. I say take
picking and picking is what we're doing.
I'm with Kancey.
I mean, we took Kancey last week. We did. Do we want to take Kancey again?
Listen, he'll get in that playing time every early, in my opinion.
If I went purely with my board, Dewan Jones would be the pick. And with all of the latest stuff of Jerry being Jerry running his mouth, talking about still being the swing guy,
right?
Then a Dewan Jones would make some sense. If they truly don't have still in their future plans beyond this year, it would make some sense.
True. I think for me, it would be Downs or one of the guards is where I'd be at.
Yep.
All right.
Downs or one of the guards.
So I'm going with one of the guards there.
I just wanted to build up the whole idea of Dewan Jones.
I feel you. I ain't mad at
because of the latest. That's a part of the latest news. But I would go Steve Avila right here. Just go.
So wait. So you're a buyer of Jones, left or right tackle or left tackle. Like,
I,
where do you believe he's at?
I think Jones is a right tackle only guy.
Okay.
And if you see how he's developed over the last 2 years at Ohio State, it was a bit of a struggle bus in 21, but he drastically improved in 22. So I only think that he's still getting better. I like what he brings now to the table. So
Mm.
he's my right guard 2 in the entire class behind Darnell Washington, or
Gotcha.
Wright, excuse me, out of Tennessee.
Right.
But here, Steve Avila is guard 1. So I would definitely take Steve Avila at this pick because high floor guy that can be an immediate impact starter for us at that left guard position and at the position of flex.
All right, so let's do it. Let's do it this way. Let's do Jones versus Torrance. How about that? Let's put Torrance in the mix. Let's just do it. We know we've talked a ton about Avila. We know how we have an affinity for him, the whole nine. So let's throw it out there to the chat. Let's do Torrance or Cyrus Torrance, guard, or DeJuan Jones, right tackle here at 26, Spoon. Where you want to land at?
Well, here's the thing. I just want to just understand. So, Dom, you said that DeJuan Jones, he's a right guard too in case of emergency.
No,
I'm sorry.
No.
I don't
Right
think
tackle.
you right tackle.
Yeah.
Who's
I
right
think he's a right tackle only guy. I don't see positional flex, and I don't
Right.
even see him doing well at left tackle.
Yeah. See, for me, okay, we don't know what the plan was still moving forward. I don't know how true that Jerry Jones statement is about still going to guard or whatever. But if let's be honest, if we get DeJuan Jones, he's starting day one. I don't think so. But Osiris or Villa, any of those two will be starting day one at guard. So I will go with either one of them, in my opinion, out of those two guards.
So and also we're completely okay with saying, we're going to pass on Kancey here and pull the trigger on DeJuan Jones.
For me, would be. I'm sorry, Dom. Go ahead.
The chat, Stephen White, DeJuan is the dude.
Mm.
I mean, we have Gregory saying DeJuan Jones, Tom Jones, Rowett. He'd either go Torrance to DeJuan Jones, Cameron Jones easily.
Mm.
Let's go on and get DeJuan Jones. Let's give them, let's give the people what they want.
All right. We'll pass on Kancey. We took Kancey. We did take Kancey last week. Let's go DeJuan Jones this time and see how things fall. DeJuan Jones out the gate. Here we are.
You know what's interesting? I see Nathaniel Dell, Tank Dell, if you don't know. He was missing from Dane Brugler's top 100 list.
Really?
He did not make the top 100 for Dane Brugler. And in the top 100, I think there were 13 receivers. So he's saying that Tank Dell, according to his board, which we know Dane is plugged in, man, to think Dell is the guy who's probably going to be a late third or fourth round player, that's wild.
So let's roll back up here. So I just want to see how things rolled. We took Jones. So Banks goes to the Bills. Anton Harrison goes to the Bengals. Osiris immediately goes to the Saints. Oh, Kalijah Kancey goes to the Eagles. Jack Campbell. Ooh, Jack Campbell to Kansas City. Josh Downs to the Steelers. Monty Smith to the Texans. Darnell Wright to the Cardinals. Kelly Ringo to the Colts. Will McDonald to the Rams. Oh, Jahmyr Gibbs in Seattle. That's interesting.
Oh man, we had Darnell Wright.
Doesn't matter.
It is what
Doesn't matter now. Doesn't matter now.
Dang.
Doesn't matter now, sir. Don't cry over Steve Avila. The Packers at 45 get Steve Avila.
Good pick.
Sam Laporta. Oh, look, I'm gonna tell you what, man. We're wiped at 58. There's a lot of people that could have ended up at 58. Guys, it's not good. It's it look, I've seen 58 be much better.
Is good.
58's been much better. Garrett Williams, Eli Ricks. Yeah, I'm telling you now, like
I would personally be
D-line.
fine. I would personally be fine with Clark Phillips, the third Utah cornerback. Dallas just isn't going to take him.
Nope. Now we're talking about A-Chain Zach. You know, if you want to go that way.
Nope.
Yeah,
So
I mean,
what's the overall board?
wide
Overall.
receiver.
I know what I'm doing here.
Down bad. Overall board is going to give you. We're not taking Stanford. Tank, Luke, Antonio Johnson, safety, Garrett Williams, Carter. Tippmann's interesting to me from the guard standpoint. I like Tip. He's a guy that I think about going from center to guard. Dom, I know you're going to like Bergeron here. But I think Tippmann at guard is better. Carl Brooks is interesting. Man, you know, running backs.
Where's what's his name from Minnesota?
You got Ika, JMS.
No, Smith from Minnesota. The
So
center.
the offensive lineman,
Yeah.
he's gone.
Oh, he's gone. Okay.
Yeah, he's gone. He's out of here. He's
Yep,
out of
he's
there.
gone.
Yeah, Don, where you at? Where you landing?
Man, I would go with my pure board. The value, it tells me Joe Tippmann is the guy.
I'm there.
And I'm solidifying my offensive line.
Yeah, no, I'm right there. I think immediately if we because we went Jones in the first round, Tippmann would be the guy here. He's a plug and play left guard right now.
Yep.
Yeah, listen, man, Biada's on contract year next year too, so
Because here's
Yeah.
it makes sense. But
And
that's
here's the thing.
his alum.
Here's the thing, and if things continue to go like they have gone with Dallas, every single year we have two of our offensive linemen go down. Tyron being one, and then there's always somebody else that will go down. So last year we had Steele. Then even whenever they put in Peters, he went down. Biotish got nicked up, but he still played. A left guard was already a sore spot for us. So when you're talking about, let's say Tyron's going to go down. Well, now you can put Tyler Smith, left tackle, put Tippmann, left guard, Biotish in the middle, Zach, and then you have Steele.
Right.
If something happens with Steele, he's not ready, you got DeJuan Jones. So we just fortified our front, and it helps with roster building for years to come.
We're pulling the trigger, and it's an offensive lineman from Wisconsin. Say less.
Yep.
Yeah.
Say less. All right. Let's go. Got Coots inside in. Got Allen. Yeah, tight end's a little. Yeah, okay, fair. How about wide receiver? Parker Washington, Booty, Reed. Oh, Tillman's gone. Ooh.
Yeah,
Ooh, Charlie Jones down the line here a little bit.
Nah,
Yeah, I mean,
running back.
you're Parker Washington would be my guy here. Running back, McBride, Bigsby, Miller, Spears, Vaughn. Sean Tucker's a guy we didn't talk about. Didn't make the top 10 from Syracuse. I like Sean Tucker a lot, though, by the way. Roshan. See, to me, at 90, you can wait here at running back.
Yep.
Corner.
Yeah, look at corner. Yeah.
Linebacker guys or no?
Yeah, linebacker, edge, any of it. It's just
Overshawn?
No.
Pace? Jones?
Like him, they won't. None of those.
Yeah, so
Down bad. I mean, Overshawn's about the. I mean, yeah. Okay.
Henry Toto from Alabama.
Now,
he's an option.
I love Jalen Jones.
Yeah.
I've loved Jalen Jones throughout the entire process. Younger guy, corner / safety, big body, speed from A&M. I love Jalen Jones.
Right.
It screams Cowboys pick for me. I'm not trying to beat the table here to get him. I'm just saying, I would look, and I get Garrett Williams. Look, they're not going to take Tomlinson. Like, they're never going to take Tomlinson, right? We kind of agree on that. Okay. I would take Jones over Garrett Williams, in my opinion. That's where I would be at. Not saying we got to take a guy here at 90. I'm just saying in general.
No, I think we should take a corner at 90 because remember that may be our guy if Gilmore is not here next year.
Carl Brooks is interesting. Can play all across the line from Bowling Green. Interesting guy. Jordan Battle from Alabama on the board. That's interesting as well. McGuire's on the board here at 90. Me and Don, we like him. You know, just kind of depends on what you wanna hit.
Oh, I know who I want.
Who you want?
Parker Washington.
Right here, right now?
Yes, sir.
I mean, here's the thing I do know. If you don't take a wide receiver here,
You're gone.
between 90 and 129, you're probably down bad. So that literally Wilson, as much as I like him, little injury bug, Syracuse. Look, I can be easy and talk about Charlie Jones later. I like Charlie Jones a lot, and I think you can get him a little bit later. But right here, the three would be these three guys: Parker Washington, Jaden Reed, and Keyshawn Booty.
As of late, one of the biggest risers now is Jonathan Mingo.
That's true.
Ole Miss receiver.
Yeah.
And a couple of guys have been high on him, like Mendoza. Mendoza's been high on Mingo for a while. And I know Bluff Marcus, he's a Ole Miss guy. So he's probably already been high on his list as well. But for me, give me Parker Washington. That's a second round pick that's still here in the third round for us. I like Jaden Reed, but Parker's higher on my list as a receiver.
All right. I'm good with Parker. I tried to get a Penn State guy last year. I'll take him this year. Whew. All right, 129, guys. Let's see. Running back was deep last round. McBride, Vaughn, Tucker, Roshan, Zach Evans. Ooh, Eric Gray. Oh, Izzy. McIntosh, which the Cowboys have met with Kenny McIntosh as well from Georgia, to be clear. So, some options there at 129. Let me go to linebacker. Now we're down to Cam Jones, Ventrell Miller, Aubrey Miller, D. Winters. We haven't touched corner yet. I like Riley Moss from Iowa personally. I don't know. Clark from Louisville. That doesn't move me. Blackman USC doesn't move me. Starling Thomas is cool. Too high for me. I like Starling. There's things I like about him. But yeah, traits exactly. But at 129 doesn't move me. So Riley Moss, I could see pulling the trigger on Riley Moss here at 129 personally. Now, obviously, I love Dwayne McBride here from a value standpoint. We haven't looked at edge, I don't guess. Are we all the way? I mean, D-line as well, right? Colburn from Texas. Interesting guy. Jared Clark. Tavia. Slays more of your one tech a little bit later. Colburn be here at 129 to me, Dom, is interesting.
I just wouldn't get Coburn at this point.
Mm-hmm.
I think the best value that we have is McBride.
Do we have anything at edge? Yeah. I like yeah. It's interesting they have Yazir over him. I like Yaya better. I mean, they're both pretty close ranked from Louisville, but I like Yaya a little bit better.
Yeah, he's a
guy. Also, a sneaky guy here. Lonnie Phelps from Kansas. Sneaky guy here late. Just saying, from an edge standpoint. Going back to running back. So McBride over. Oh God, I didn't get edge.
Israel.
Sorry.
It'll be Israel.
Right. So we have McBride, Tucker, Roshan, and Israel would be where we would be at.
Yeah, I'm getting McBride here.
Spoonie?
I'm Roshan.
Oh, you're Roshan. So here's my thing. If we're kind of torn here, running back, now we are talking 40 picks. You got to roll the dice. So tell me the position you would go outside of that then. You would go back to corner? Because you're not going to I don't think you'll get Riley Moss at 169. That would be my guy. But any corner that y'all like, whatever flavor y'all like here, since we haven't got a corner yet.
Yeah, I'm going any corner. You definitely need a corner.
I'm just because of what we already have. Jordan Brown coming back. We got Gilmore. We got our. I don't think any of these corners at this point is going to help you in 23. Jordan Lewis. I just met.
Okay, I was like, who the hell's Jordan Brown?
I think about Anthony Brown and Jordan Lewis.
No, but I you know what, Dom?
I was like, yo.
But you know what, Dom? I did like what you tweet. Was it today or yesterday? The Anthony Brown situation, bringing him back. That's a good idea too.
That's the guy that you could get.
Yeah,
that minimum.
Let's
so
pull the trigger on McBride.
Go with the running back. Go with McBride then.
We'll pull the trigger on McBride, and we'll see how the fates, the gods. Oh, there's my guy, Yaya. I like Yaya. I'm gonna go to corner.
I think Dallas is gonna like Yaya.
Yeah. So Starling is cool. Look, Carrington Valentine is another guy. He's a trait guy. Like he's a super trait guy. Does it come over here? Right, 6 foot, 193, has good range, lengthwise, and he's like track star. So Carrington Valentine's a guy I think people should look at. He has a lot of traits that matter with the 6 foot. You know, look, the one thing I will say too, we have a Wright on the board. This is the younger brother, last chance you, Rajon Wright, and I know they've had scouts during his time at Oregon State out there. Just saying. Don't forget about Rajon Wright as well.
Yeah.
Going over here to Yaya though, as you said, you kind of get over here, right? 6'3", 263, good length. He's a guy, great first step as well when you come to Yaya.
I'd take him here.
Yeah. It makes a lot of sense to me. I buy it as well at 169. Mm-hmm. Boom.
Yeah, the fact that he stayed on the board that late. Yep.
Quarterback time.
They brought him in.
They did bring in Aiden. They brought Aiden in. I mean, Ventrell Miller here at linebacker as well. If you want to roll the dice, tight end. Y'all want to look at tight end real quick?
It's the 5th round, right? Yeah, 5th round.
6. We're in 6. Round 6. Mallory. Look, they visited with Brenton Strange as well. And I'm good.
I want to kick her.
Honestly, of all the guys I've seen so far, Strange is the guy that I would take. And I'm the younger of the two of us. My brother is the older. And he rarely talks draft with me. He's a Cowboys fan. I was the fat kid blocking for him. He was a running back when we were in school. Yeah. And so he sent me a text this week. He's like, "What you think about Strange out of Penn State?" And I was like, "Yeah, he's all right, blah, blah." He's like, "Man, I think everybody's sleeping on him." So it made me go back and watch, and I could see he's an all-around good player, and he might end up being one of those Darren Waller types where it's like, where did he come from?
Okay. I mean, the other side too is, do we get our defensive lineman, sir?
You should. We got Cameron Young there. You got is Dale from Bama.
I mean, is there an idea here? Oh, you want to go ultimately just go and say the guy who's had is going to have a private workout here with the Cowboys, Aiden O'Connell. They're going to draft the quarterback.
Get your quarterback.
Yeah.
Get the quarterback. All right. Let's pull the quarterback.
I don't think we've gotten a quarterback in a while.
244. My guy Hunter Lipke. Lip in the building. Oh man. Oh,
In every mock so far, we've taken him. Every mock.
you know,
Saldivari.
yeah, no, Salavery's is good. The Carrington Valentine here. Oh well.
Yeah, brain
Let's
strange.
salute to the brother. Let's salute to the brother here, Dom.
Get him.
Let's salute to the brother. Let's get the tight end. We're gonna miss
Man.
out on a D line. It's okay. Let's salute to the brother here. Let's salute to it. Let's see where we're at.
And again, the D tackle, it's again one of those nose tackles takes a while to produce, and
Mhm.
it's not. I don't think that's going to help us too much when it comes to a nose tackle.
So they gave us a C for DeJuan Jones here at 26. B plus for Joe Titman at 58. Parker Washington C minus at 90. A plus for Mr. McBride at 129. A minus for Yaya at one. A plus for Aiden O'Connell at 212. And then, of course, a C plus here for Britton Strange at 244. A minus overall, ladies and gentlemen.
Nice.
A minus overall.
Nice.
A minus overall.
This was
So, you know, we kind of go back and we kind of look at the draft in general, right? Influx of offensive linemen here. You know, position flex with Titman, center guard, guard this year, center, depending on what you want to do next year. Jones gives you the ultimate, you know, depth at right tackle, no matter what the hell's going on. Washington, depth at wide receiver. Dwayne McBride, a nice pairing with our guy, Tony Pollard. Another edge, quarterback to build with, and tight end depth in what you need to do. What did we miss here? We didn't get the cornerback. We didn't get that number 2 cornerback, but you know the board fell the way it fell, and we did what we did. And we didn't get the other 1 or 3 tick, because we all believe here the Cowboys ultimately are going to add at least 1, right? I don't think they're going to go out here and double dip in the draft at defensive tackle, but I feel they're going to add 1. And once we passed on from Kansas in round 1, it kind of felt like a lost cause, right? To a certain extent. So, different look here in the draft. You covered a lot of things, you know, and helped yourself. And again, you know, offense intensive, 1 pick, defense, everything else, offense. So building up in that way and in that stretch. So, you know, no quarterback, linebacker, or D tackle, but again, influx of the offensive line for sure. And you know, and you got weapons with Parker, tight end, and McBride. So interesting to see though, as we take the picks, how it falls, what's happening, how it's evolving, and what you have to look for. And I think ultimately, when we do the mock drafts in general, is just the idea of how things can happen. And you know, you can sit here and talk about who you take at 26. You have no clue though how that board's going to look at 58. And the one thing we're definitely going to be doing here in April moving forward, and I talked about this on the space, we have hammered about 26. We talked about the team building and everything else. We are extremely going to start pivoting into, for the next week and a half or so, the 58 pick.
Right.
Because we don't talk about it enough, about 58. And then we have to get into 90. Because, again, we're talking about 26, and then we just kind of do, well, whatever falls after that point is what it is. But we're kind of getting the clear-cut lane of how these comps are, where these guys are going, or whatever. It's time for us to move forward or backwards, even via the draft, if you will, of 26 be damned. What does 58 look like? And what are the options there? And how should we attack that with a trade down, trade up scenario? Right. And really dig into that. And then we got to get to 90 and 129. So, but once again, man, that's it for our coverage of top 10 running backs, top 10 edges, mock draft in episode 8. Next week, fun times, tight ends, tight ends and linebackers.
Ooh.
Up next Friday. Tight ends, linebackers. O's back in the building next week as well. Interesting to wrap that thing up as we're about to get to our top 50 board, getting to those moves and marks. So once again, appreciate everybody rocking with us. Spoonie, once again, happy birthday.
Oh, thank you.
Coming up Monday. Enjoy the birthday weekend.
Thank you.
Dom over here yawning over here in the in the wifey's building.
Learning center, baby.
He did. Look, he started with 50%, but he got that damn charger on time to get him through.
For real.
The things that happen behind the scenes in the private chat, y'all never have a clue. With that being said, as always, make sure you hit the like on the way out. If you ain't subbed, hit the sub. Free 99. Tell a friend to tell a friend, and share the channel as we're going now. Man, we just after the Izzy and whatever, we're over 1,200 now, and looking to try to build this thing to $2,000 before regular season. So let's build that up. Pick Six fam. Let's get it growing. Let's try to get to 2,000 subs before opening day kickoff is where we're at. Last word, Dom, and last word, Spoon. Go right ahead, Dom.
Yeah, man, we got 28 days away now until the draft, if you include today. So really 27. So we'll go ahead and consider it April 1st. The more and more that this thing continues to work, I think tonight's mock really plays into what I think is going to happen. I really believe that offensive tackle is going to be the best value at 26. And I think there's still the potential for offensive line to be the best value at 58. I think Dallas has a great opportunity before they get out of the second round to be able to find another offensive lineman to infuse into that room. So I feel confident about that. I think they could go that way, which gives me a little bit of hope that they don't have to force it at pick 26. So if you want to use 26 as a luxury pick or a safe pick, however they want to do it, they tend to mostly go safe. So I'm fine with doing that.
10-4. Spoonie, last word from you.
Oh, the Dallas Cowboys front office is on a mission. They did not like how this did the season last year. They're looking for more. We've seen the moves that made so far. They're telling us they're trying to get over the top, and I expect them to dominate the NFL draft and to celebrate the results at the end.
Man, with that being said, I can't say it no better. I will pivot out of here. Post-show space will be going down. Haven't done one the last couple weeks. I got you. We're going to run one on the back end, and we'll talk about my terrible pork eating habits, apparently, as we were talking about. And the fact, if you don't like grits, I don't know what to tell you. Grits are fantastic, number one. Number two, don't put sugar in your grits. Go eat oatmeal in that
what?
case. Okay?
Whoa.
Yeah, I said it.
I put sugar in your grits?
Oh, hold on.
I've
Y'all
never
put sugar.
tasted it before.
Oh,
How
wait,
is
pause. Y'all put sugar in your damn spaghetti
I never
too?
tried it.
No.
I never tried it.
Y'all put sugar in your spaghetti too?
No, not on spaghetti.
Nah.
Yeah,
But
in the
grits?
sauce, y'all do that?
Man, grits, I'll turn me some butter and sugar up on them grits.
Man, just go eat some Malta meal.
I gotta try one time.
Look,
Never
grits.
tried it with sugar.
Look, butter, black pepper, or some butter and some cheese. Get that sugar up out of here, man.
Wait, you didn't put sugar and butter on your rice, your white rice too?
No, hell no. Butter and black pepper, let's go.
Man, you ain't country enough.
No. I ain't diabetic enough. With that being said, ladies and gentlemen, man, what's a grit? Hey, get out of here, Toxic Tom. On the back end, man, make sure you hit this up and everything. Tell everybody. Space on the other side here in a few minutes. Y'all be safe. And even if you're not in the space, you know, follow. Oh, by the way, all these right here, you can follow us right here on Twitter, man. That's all the ads right there. You can follow us on Twitter. If you ain't over there on the other side for Twitter, man, appreciate y'all. Enjoy your weekend. For all my wrestling fans, the grandest stage of them all, wrestling is in the building because it's man, yeah, it is WrestleMania weekend, Saturday and Sunday as well too. Yeah. Y'all be safe, be blessed. Peace. My knee hurts. I'm still trying to recover from this damn knee surgery.